Have you ever planned a simple seasonal job only to find yourself fighting for your life and then turning the tables on the people who hurt you? Today we dive into a brutal story of survival where two young women go from victims to avengers. This is Even Lambs Have Teeth from 2015, and trust me, this one does not pull punches. Welcome back to Movie Recaps Hub Podcast. Today, we're recapping Even Lambs Have Teeth from 2015. If you love tight recaps that hit the beats and keep the emotion intact, you are in the right place. Spoilers ahead, let us jump straight in. Our story opens with two best friends. Katie is the careful, uptight type and Sloane is more freewheeling and promiscuous. They are excited about an out-of-town job at Echofield Organic Farms. The plan is simple: work for a month, save up, and then spend their cash shopping in New York City. The night before they leave, they stay with Katie's Uncle Jason and his girlfriend. Sloane jokes that they should use fake names while in town. Sloane picks Heather and Katie picks Ripley. The next morning, Uncle Jason drives them to a station for the bus to the farm. He is protective and worries about them. He asks them to send a daily code word at the end of every text so he can be sure they are okay. The safe word for today is apple. While waiting at a cafe for the bus, the two catch the eye of two local men. The men introduce themselves as brothers Jed and Lucas and offer them a ride to the farm. Katie hesitates, but Sloane persuades her. They get into the brothers' blue truck. But things feel off when Jed deliberately passes the farm where they will be working. At the house, they meet the brothers' sketchy mother, who invites them in for tea. Katie receives a text from Uncle Jason and answers using the safe word apple to reassure him. But the tea and the pie are laced with drugs. Their vision blurs and they try to run. But Jed and Lucas knock them unconscious and drag them back inside. The next morning, Katie and Sloane wake chained in the woods. Jed tells them that they will now be living there and gives them only basic amenities: clothes, a bed, a toilet. Later, Boris, the boss, shows up and takes Katie's phone to check whether anyone knows where they are. He discovers the girls lied about their names and about the code word. Katie confesses that apple is a safety word, and for the moment that seems to settle things. Then the town's sheriff arrives with his gun out. He condones the human trafficking that is happening and proceeds to rape one of the women. After this, Sloane soothes a shaken Katie. The trauma is already deepening. Back home, Uncle Jason starts to worry because the last text from Katie contains the same safe word she used the day before. That is not how the code is supposed to work. He calls the place where they were supposed to work and learns they never showed up. Convinced something is wrong, he begins to investigate. Meanwhile, the traffickers bring in more customers. One is a scruffy guy who picks Sloane and takes her inside a trailer. He is clearly unstable and the abuse continues. Then another customer arrives, more disturbing than the first. This one wears a pig mask and takes Sloane. We do not see everything he does, but Sloane is left even more traumatized than before. Uncle Jason visits the sheriff's office, and for the first time we learn he is not just a local cop but an FBI agent. He voices his concerns to the sheriff and points out that Katie did not use a new code word in her latest text, which makes him think they are in trouble. For reasons that will complicate everything, the sheriff tips off the traffickers that Jason is FBI and that Katie lied about the code word. Boris decides to silence the girls rather than risk the FBI looking into their operation. He orders Jed to kill Katie and Sloane and dump their bodies. Katie, eavesdropping, overhears the plan. While the kidnappers leave Katie and Sloane under the watch of the scruffy guy, Katie uses the chance to seduce him. When she gets close, she rips his throat out with her bare teeth. Yes, you heard that right. The two women free themselves from their chains. They steal the sheriff's car just as he arrives and drive back into town to gear up. This is where the story pivots. These are not just victims anymore. They are going hunting. They stop at a hardware store to get weapons and ask a cashier about Boris and the blue truck. On the other side of town, Uncle Jason keeps investigating, even making up a story about accidentally colliding with a blue truck to find the owner. Katie and Sloane ambush Boris at his home. They throw nail-spiked tennis balls at him, injuring him badly. Boris begs, offering money in exchange for his life. At that moment, Uncle Jason pulls up. Inside the house, the women question Boris about the pig-masked man. When he refuses to reveal the identity, Katie and Sloane make a makeshift spear and shove it into him, killing him. Jason finds the scene and sees Boris dying. He hears car engines and sees Katie and Sloane driving off. He rushes the dying Boris to the hospital, but Boris does not make it. The two women track down the pig-masked man to a church and discover he is actually the town priest. Sloane confronts the priest and with Katie's help they take him down. As a final act before leaving, they chain him behind their truck, pour gasoline over him, and set him on fire. While that is happening, Jason is captured by the sheriff and is being held by the same corrupt man. The sheriff has also imprisoned two other young women. Katie and Sloane return to rescue him. They tie up the sheriff and force him into a cruel game of Russian roulette. The sheriff begs and proclaims how sorry he is, but Katie finishes him off with a blow to the head. They free the other women and tell them to free Uncle Jason. Out of gratitude, those women do not reveal who killed the sheriff. Katie and Sloane pay a visit to Jed and Lucas' mother. They drug her the same way she drugged them a few days earlier, tie her up and take her to the basement where Jed is tied up and gagged. They beat Jed to death with baseball bats while forcing the mother to watch. They then take the mother to Lucas, who is tied to a chair. Instead of beating Lucas to death, they untie him, hand him a bat and threaten him to beat his own mother. When Lucas refuses, they shoot him dead and then set up his body to look like he committed suicide. Their plan is to pin all the murders on him. Desperate, the mother offers money to spare her life. Katie instead takes a lawnmower and brutally murders her with it. Sometime later, Uncle Jason picks Katie and Sloane up, and they're driven to the airport. It appears time has passed and the two women are changed. They are battered and altered but determined. They excitedly board a plane to New York City. Even Lambs Have Teeth is an unrelenting, brutal tale of abduction and vengeance. It tracks how two ordinary young women are pushed to their limits and do whatever it takes to survive and make their oppressors pay. The film is uncomfortable and raw, but it forces the audience to ask how far someone will go to get justice when the system fails them. If you liked this recap, please like the video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to Movie Recaps Hub podcast for more. Hit the bell to get notified when new recaps drop. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next one.